I want to do a cool intro. I was thinking of doing like...
Yo, welcome back to the Daytime Podcast.
Nah, I've got one.
Okay.
I want to catch you by surprise. Alright, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, 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 hello. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Tea Time Podcast with Gilad and Aviv. This is episode 2 of season 2 of the return season. How are you doing today, Aviv?
I'm doing brilliantly, buddy. I'm doing amazing today.
Brilliantly.
And I'm excited to see where this episode will take us this afternoon.
Yeah, we've made some significant upgrades, we feel. We've got a new microphone, so hopefully the volume is a lot better. Mm-hmm. We've changed the filming. We prior to this, we used a GoPro. So that's why, like in the top corner of the previous videos, you could see the time and the dates.
Yes.
But we're hoping that this is able to be a bit better. We're filming now on a phone, exporting that onto a computer. Hopefully that's a bit better. Yeah, we're excited. We've had in my opinion, very successful return.
Yeah, I mean, I love the passion.
Yeah, there's passion.
There's aggression.
There is passion.
There's lots of passion. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say we've had quite a successful return to the channel. Last two the last podcast we cut it into 2 bits. One shorter bit for the introduction, and then one longer bit which was more about football and questions from the fans. And we thought it was quite successful. We enjoyed filming it. We got some feedback that sometimes the episodes are too long. So we're going to do our best to make this between 30 and 35 minutes. A 30 to 35 minute podcast is probably the best.
The fans know.
The fans are always right.
They know what's good for the episode of the podcast and what's good for the future.
For the future?
Yes.
Okay.
What's good podcast?
What's good podcast? Good podcast. We shout them out all the time. But yeah, so...
Isn't what's good meant to a round off, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Making sure that was... Right.
So, Viv, what are you drinking today? And please explain the full story to the viewers of how you made your tea.
The drinking, this tea. Well, I know the last episode, me and Gilad were talking before the podcast was being recorded, and I brought out some green tea, and Gilad thought it was this brand called T2, and so I was like, no, Gilad, it's not T2, but I'll have T2 next week. And so what I've done now is for this week's podcast, I got some T2 tea. And I thought it was in tea bags. Now, to my surprise, it was a bag full of like tea leaves and shit.
It wasn't tea leaves, it was like the herbs.
Yeah, the herbs.
It was the herbs, like that little stuff that's in the tea bag, like the herbs in the tea bag. It was just a packet of that. That's pretty much what it was.
And so what I thought I could do is like get a plastic bag and put the herbs in there, let it filter. But I was like, wait, I might get like cancer and shit from like the plastic in the hot water.
How?
It's like
the plastic. Yeah.
So like I don't want to drink like the melted plastic.
Yeah.
So what I did was I got a sieve, and then I poured the herbs in the sieve, and then I poured hot water onto the herbs and kind of put the sieve over the cup, kind of like this. Put the sieve over the cup like that, and then kind of so it had like a bit of a well, and so I filled up the water up to the herbs, so the herbs were immersed in water and let them soak for like about 2 minutes. So I got the flavor of the herbs. Yeah. One complaint, I do have some bits in there.
In the tea, there is a lot of herbs in there. Just like shit. A lot of shit sprinkling around.
Yeah.
Sprinkling around, sorry.
Sprinkling.
But yeah, I'm drinking a green tea. I think this might be my first ever time drinking green tea.
And what do you think of the green tea?
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it.
Maybe one day we can do like a tea swap halfway through. We just swap teas.
No. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm still on my tea journey, trying out different teas. I'm a big fan of fruit teas. I enjoyed the peppermint tea last time.
Tea?
Shut up, man. Shut up. But yeah, I'm really struggling to get my pronunciation out today.
Well, I commend you for using the word pronunciation. A lot of people, they say pronunciation.
Yeah.
It's actually wrong.
I did it specifically so that I could. Yeah,
cool. Anyway,
but yeah, so that's probably a nice introduction to what we've been doing. The return. Make sure to follow the Instagram. I have been the one that's taken charge of the Instagram, so
Tea time underscore podcast.
That's 2 underscores. And we're
one
really trying to...
2 underscores, one podcast.
One podcast.
Yes,
2 underscores.
One podcast.
That
That took me all night to come up with that catchphrase, but
really?
It was spontaneous, It was spontaneous, Jonty.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
anyways, let's move on to some soccer talk.
okay. So we decided, since we obviously filmed the first 2 episodes on Zoom in the middle of the 2021-2022 season, right in the halfway point, and we haven't had much of a chance to review that season, we decided for today's football talk, we'll do the 2021-2022 football awards. So we've got a few categories. Aviv and I will give our answers to that, what we think a player, a team, a manager for each category. So the first category is the best player category. So who was in this is not just the Premier League or the Premier League, as I Show Speed. Do you watch I Show Speed a little bit?
I do.
He is very funny. He says a few controversial things which we don't condone.
Burn.
Yeah. Oh, his thing with talking bad. Nice. But yeah, anyway, so it's not just the Premier League, this stuff, it's the whole world. So, best player, Viv. Who is your best player of the 2021-2022 season?
I would say probably Benzema this season.
I'd have to agree.
Benzema. I got the goals in for Real Madrid. Was instrumental for that Champions League winning team. He
For sure.
Dominated against PSG. Well, we got those 2 goals. Scored the penalty against Man City, was it? Put them in the lead.
Yeah. When you say goals, it sounds like you're saying girls.
Actually.
Yeah. Got those 2 girls, Karim Benzema. He's actually got a prolonged prison sentence, doesn't he?
I don't think he's going to prison. I think he's like serving it, but like at home or something like that.
I don't know. He had some sort of run-in with the law.
Yeah, with Valbuena and his girlfriend. He had a sex tape of them, and apparently he was
blackmail.
Like the league or some shit.
Okay.
But yeah, Benzema has played the best, I think, by far this season. Maybe the only other players I would argue probably Salah's been pretty good this season, but kind of dipped halfway through. Son's been pretty good, very underrated player this season.
I'd have to agree.
But yeah, what about you, Gilad?
Yeah, for me it's Karim Benzema, number 1. At his age, doing what he's doing, obviously he is 34, 33, which is old. He's scoring goals, providing assists for the team, playing well. I wouldn't say he revived Vinicius Junior's career, but Vinicius Junior really has revived.
Yeah.
Like his career has revived after this season. I also had Mbappe up there. I thought he had a good season. Not as good as Benzema though. Benzema for sure takes the cake. So for the next one, we got best manager.
Let's go you first, Gilad.
Me first. I had 2 names. I couldn't decide. I went one which was obvious, Ancelotti. Obviously winning the Champions League, winning the league. He had a few. Oh, he won trophies this season, and you can't argue with trophies. Took a older Real Madrid team, which, for being honest, beat a lot of good teams on their run to the final. They beat PSG, City, and Chelsea. Right? They beat those 3 teams to make the final, and then beat Liverpool in the final. So, for sure, probably manager. I went for a bit of an obscure one. I went for Stefano Pioli. He is the AC Milan manager. Although it was a weakened Serie A, he still managed to win the league with Milan, who, if we're being honest, had an interesting team. A good mix of young and old.
Yeah.
But for any team that's got their 2 starting strikers as a 38-year-old Giroud and a 40-year-old...
36.
A 36-year-old Giroud and a 40-year-old Zlatan to win the league, I think that's quite impressive. So that's why I went for those 2.
They did play Leao up front for a bit, I think.
Leao? Yeah, I think, but I think they also, Zlatan and Giroud played a lot as well.
Yeah, I do think that AC Milan, if that team can really, I think that team has the potential if they stick with their young players, because they've always been a very good team.
We're struggling to get the words out today, aren't we?
It's like, what's the charisma?
We're lacking the fundamentals for a podcast. But
I don't know, but we're happy to be here.
We're happy to be here. We're loving our time.
Yeah, all 3 of us. That's right. We've got a Mike the Mic here with us today.
Yeah, Mike the mic, improving our audio quality.
Yeah,
But anyway, as you were saying,
I think this AC Milan team really can do a lot in the next couple of years if they can stick with their young players. Obviously, they lost Donnarumma to PSG on a free.
yeah, that's huge.
If imagine if they kept him, they would have had a young one, probably top three, possibly even the best goalkeeper in the world. I would want to say
in the
right
future,
now.
for sure.
But he's young, 20, 24, 25. With that AC Milan team, I think they could have probably, if Donnarumma had stayed and they keep their young players, I reckon they could have won a Champions League in about 5-6 years.
Wow. Well, I think they're good. I really do. But I don't think that they're that good. And that's why I had Pioli as the manager of the year, because they're good, but I don't think they're great. Like, I really don't think they're a team. Even though, they've got Kessie, who now went to Barca. Donnarumma obviously went to PSG. They do have good players in that team, but I didn't think that they were incredible enough to win the league, and that's what they did.
Still a journey to get back to that. Go Milan.
Oh no, yeah, that'll be a tough one to go to.
Moving on, best team. Okay, I'm going to start with this one. Best team this season. I could say Real Madrid is the best team.
Same.
No one saw them coming.
No,
I don't think anyone even thought they would make the quarterfinals of the Champions League. People thought they were going to go out.
Well, yeah, for sure.
No one saw them getting past PSG.
Yeah.
No one saw them getting past Man City. No one saw them getting past Chelsea either.
Comeback kings.
Against the
somehow pulled off a comeback against Manchester City.
Oh, we forgot against Chelsea as well. They also beat us.
And they were also losing the PSG, I think, on aggregate. I don't know if it was quite as dramatic. Their comeback as
in Man City.
City one.
Yeah.
That Man City comeback was special. Was it 2 Rodrigo goals?
Yeah, it was.
2 Rodrigo goals.
And they did dominate. I thought they played very well against Liverpool. Maybe not dominated because Liverpool Courtois put on an exceptional performance.
He did.
But still, they
made a lot of crucial saves.
They did play well against Liverpool, I felt like.
Ooh. My teabag is getting soggy.
Yeah.
Soggy teabag. But I don't think there's any debate about Real Madrid being the best team. Also won the La Liga. Obviously, it wasn't as great a league this year, but still, winning the league is still a good thing.
I reckon if Liverpool had maybe not watched the league, but if they'd won the Champions League, or at least won had the League Cup as well, which they did win against Chelsea, maybe they could have been contenders. But obviously,
of course, if they would, well, they won the League Cup and the FA Cup.
But they needed to win the Champions League.
If they would have won one of Premier League or Champions League, they could have been best team. For sure, no doubt. So next one, most disappointing... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, notice how we aren't putting Klopp or Pep as the best manager, even though they did really well. Yeah,
I just think maybe it's because we expect so much of them and they're already performing. Like, their team's already performing at such a high level.
Yeah.
So, next one, most disappointing player.
You're going to start for this one.
I'll start for this one? Okay, I had two. I had Romelu Lukaku, quite an obvious one, and Jadon Sancho, 2 Premier League boys. The reason... I'll go for Lukaku first. I'll try to be quick. The reason I had Lukaku was I was a really big believer in him. He tore Arsenal apart, a goal and an assist in a 3-1? 3-0 win. A goal and an assist in that game. Absolutely tore us to shreds. I really thought that coming to the Premier League, he could bring he could be a really different type of striker. Prior to his arrival, we didn't have that striker who, was just a target man. Who did we have in the league? We had Harry Kane, who came in deep and played those long balls. Aubameyang, who was very pacey and went long. Who else did we have in the league? City, obviously, played with Aguero, who is very different to Lukaku. We didn't have that big body, big presence that can receive it with his back to the goal, spin and shoot and score. So I really thought that he would implement that into the Premier League, but obviously relationship issues with Tuchel, and lack of game time a little bit, a bit of injuries, lack of fitness.
From the start, he said he wanted to be back at Inter. So
it's a bit of a messy situation.
It was. I think he brought on himself. To be honest. Yeah. His downfall.
As a Chelsea fan, how do you feel about his exit and his arrival and his exit?
I feel like the loyalty for me as a fan is gone. I don't think of Lukaku as one of the bred and born players. If you look at Mason Mount, a player that I love. Came up from the academy. Came up from Derby County.
Well, the whole point of Lukaku was supposed to be his return to his English club.
He was meant to come back. He went to show us why it was a mistake letting him go all those years ago. You know what he showed us? He showed us why it was smart. He showed us in Chelsea, he actually made us look like idiots.
For sure.
Him again.
For sure.
Everyone called us idiots before for losing him. to Everton or whatever it was. And then now we look like idiots again for buying him. So it's a lose-lose situation for us.
Big loss for the club.
Embarrassing, I think.
But Chelsea are reinvesting.
100 mil wasted.
Yeah, true.
We could really use that 100 mil right now on signings.
True. But really now you're making moves. Rafinha, Koulibaly.
True.
Sterling, obviously. But yeah, who did you say for most disappointing?
Players.
Lukaku as well, you think?
Oh, definitely Lukaku definitely hits home. Possibly anyone else I'm thinking of?
Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho. Man, the whole Man United team was really shit.
The whole Man United team.
I mean, Bruno compared to last year was pretty disappointing.
That's disappointing, yeah.
Pogba was really disappointing.
I think Pogba's been disappointing for a few seasons now, to be honest.
I think Rashford as well was really disappointing. Like, there wasn't much going on.
Rashford, I think, United are a really disappointing team.
Possibly Maguire.
Maguire
was really disappointing. Yeah. But that's a whole new category that we need to
That's a whole new category.
Anyway, let's go for number 5. Most disappointing team.
Most disappointing team. Okay.
I'm going to go for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Man United. Everyone had big hopes for Man United, finishing second last year.
Yeah.
Segues nicely into the point that I'm making now. But before with the most disappointing player. But I think Man United showed us how weak the bad bones of that team is, and how it was all a facade. Solskjaer getting second with that team was really a much better feat than it.
Quite impressive now that you look back at it. Very impressive. I'm gonna go for a rogue one. So this is one that I'm quite proud of. This one. I'm sprinkling some ball knowledge on you. I'm going back to the Serie A.
Sprinkling.
Let me just get my notes out because I don't remember exactly. Yeah, so I'm going back to the Serie A, and I'm going for Atalanta. Now, it's a bit of a weird one. No one really knows about them.
A bit under the radar. And I think that they were particularly under the radar because they were very disappointing. This was their, I believe, 5th or 6th season with their current manager. His name is Gasperini. And they finished 8th in the league. Now, if you're looking at that Serie A this season, it's a really, I don't want to say low quality, but it's not as great as, the Juventus teams of the past, the AC Milan teams of the past, the Inter Milan teams of the past. Mm-hmm. And they came 8th. That's the lowest finish under that manager. In the last 3 seasons, they came 3rd, and 4th. Mm-hmm. They made deep runs in the Champions League, in the Cups. This season, I think they got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Cup, which is good, but that's still one of 8 teams. That means, again, they're the 8th best team in that league. They got knocked out of the group stage in the Champions League and made it to the round of 16 of the Europa League, which means that they just won one game they won one knockout tie. Mm-hmm. They had a bit of a disappointing season. And that's why they're my most disappointing team. Because I think if you're looking at that Serie A team, Juventus is quite bad. They lost Ronaldo. They're probably got one of their worst teams in a while. We expected this. They're an aging team.
Juventus.
Look at the background of Chiellini and Bonucci.
That's
really,
what I mean.
And Odolist as well.
Yeah, true. But they are still a bit weaker. Inter Milan lost their manager, Antonio Conte, who won them the league the year before.
Yeah.
AC Milan, a team that's up there, a lot of older players.
And a lot of the younger teams that are actually starting to perform really well, looking at Roma. Mourinho took them far in the Conference League.
But that's
a very young squad.
Exactly. So Roma's a young squad as well. So I really thought that Atalanta this year, maybe not a title run, but maintaining their 3rd, 4th, maybe even, title run maybe. But coming 8th, their worst finish under that manager. They're my most disappointing team. So that's my sprinkle of ball knowledge for you. Sprinkle.
Okay. Let's go next. You're going to start with this one. Most surprising player.
Most surprising player. I went for... Who did I go for? I went for Bernardo Silva. Mm-hmm. For a lot of the season, probably the first half of the season, he was considered the 2nd best player in the league, just under Mo Salah. Obviously, second half of the season, Kane, Son, they took off. Ronaldo got in that argument, but Son and Kane played a lot better, so they probably overtook him towards the end of the season. But he had a good season. He had a great season. And it all came from the fact that they had no De Bruyne. He was given a much larger role to shine in. can play in a lot of positions, which I found surprising. I was about to say small. Such a small guy can play effectively as a 6 in a double pivot, aside Rodri, as an 8, as a 10 on the wing. This was the first season that he played this is his first season in 3 seasons that he played more than 2,100 minutes. And for what that means is he played more than an average of 23. He played more than 23 full games this season for the first time in 3 years in the Premier League. So he was really given that license to go out there, be himself, be that guy, be the guy for that City team, as opposed to being in the De Bruyne shadow. And I think when he had the opportunity, he really took it, and that personally surprised me. So that's why I'll go for what's his name? Bernardo Silva. Oh wow.
Okay. Well, I've got 2 very surprising players. I'm going to go for the first half of the season. I would have put, if you'd asked me this back in December, I probably would have said Mikel Antonio. For banging in those goals for West Ham.
Yeah,
for sure. Biggest dick in world football.
He has the biggest dick in world football.
Biggest dick in world football. So that's pretty much what I would have said. But now that I have the hindsight of this season, I'm going to say Jose Sa. That Wolves team. Obviously not the best defense in the league, but I think I played 5 at the back for most of the season.
Well, I don't know if I'd say they're not. I think they're quite solid defensively.
Scored the least amount of goals per game.
Or second least, right
after Norwich.
After Norwich, yeah.
So they weren't banging in the goals. They weren't getting wins, and they were conceding a lot of goals. For that first 3 quarters of the season, the last run they had was very bad.
Yeah.
Jose Sa played absolutely fantastic. He made great saves.
Yeah.
And no one saw it coming.
Probably the best goalkeeper of the Premier League season.
I would say that. Didn't get the spot for the team of the year in the goalkeeper.
Who got the goalkeeper team of the year?
I think it was Alisson.
I think it would be Jose Sa.
It was Jose Sa, Mendy, Alisson were my top 3.
Yeah,
keepers
for sure. Jose Sa was great. I 100% agree. 100%.
Ramsdale was very good this season.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he's my most surprising player, but considering I never heard of Jose Sa before, only on FIFA. Yeah. Olympiacos.
Didn't even know that, but okay.
Exactly. We didn't know much about him. How's your tea going, by the way? I finished
mine as well.
Nice.
Let's go.
And the reason you heard that quality so well is because of the new microphone.
Yeah.
So we're investing. We're investing in the Tea Time podcast.
We're moving places. We're moving from Zoom to my house.
From Zoom to Aviv's house.
Yeah. So should we move on to the next segment, Gilad?
We've got one more.
We've got one more. Sorry, my bad. Most surprising team.
Most surprising team.
I'm going first.
You can go.
Another tough one.
They're meant to be tough. They're meant to be challenging.
You know what? Surprising. I can almost argue that Newcastle was pretty surprising considering they were relegation prospects.
They hadn't won a game in the first 10, 12?
Something like that.
They didn't win a single game.
Obviously, the new ownership did come in and give them morale, and a relegation would not have been very, very.
Well, it was
very.
What are you trying to say?
Very good because it would have been like.
You spent the whole time.
I know.
The whole time thinking for the word good.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah. So I think, especially now that they brought in new players, no one really saw it coming.
Yeah.
They went on a great run. They went
great run.
like 10 games without losing or something like that.
Yeah. Did you see the interview where Chris Wood, I think it was, did they draw to Liverpool, sorry? I think they drew to Liverpool. It was after the game where they drew to Liverpool. And he was interviewed, and the interviewer said you guys have gone on a really good non-losing streak, undefeated streak. And he said, fucking hell, touch wood, and touched himself in the chest. And it's so funny.
I've seen that.
It's quite funny.
I just want to add one more point, which I forgot to say for most disappointing team.
Yeah.
I think Leeds is definitely a contender for most disappointing.
Leeds? A lot of injuries.
Not the most disappointing team, but we were not expecting 17th from that Leeds team.
Probably not. That's true.
Maybe the lowest I would have said is 13th or 12th.
A lot of people rated them quite highly. They had a lot of injuries, issues with the manager, but 17th, just fighting for promotion, probably isn't good enough.
They need a goal.
They don't have a good team though. They don't have a great man-for-man team.
Now they've brought in some good.
I think they could maybe finish a bit higher next season.
I think maybe 15th is a good goal for Leeds this season.
15th.
And
my most surprising team, I went for Brighton and Hove Albion, 9th in the league. Very under the radar.
Shout out to your res.
Shout out to the only Brighton fan I know.
Yeah, same.
Only Brighton fan I know.
The Seagulls.
The Seagulls. Interesting, terrible nickname. Absolutely terrible. Like, you think about it, I'm going to go play the Seagulls. You're not scared of that.
Yeah, no.
I've got a packet of chips and seagulls are trying to eat it.
Yeah, they'll leave you alone, you know?
Yeah, that I'm not scared of the Seagulls. But no, seriously, they're my favorite. Not my favorite. My most surprising team. Ninth in the league, some good results, especially against the Gunners and Tottenham in back-to-back games. They won both those games in North London. They came ninth with quite a poor squad, I'd say. I don't think they're man for man. Other than Cucurella, the goalkeeper Sanchez is alright.
Mopai had a good season.
Mopai's not great, I don't think. I think other than Cucurella, Trossard, Bissouma, and the goalkeeper Sanchez. Bissouma's gone. Yeah. They really didn't have a team that could even could sniff even the top half.
Yeah.
So I think they're my most surprising team. But we're gonna move on now. In the interest of, or maybe not in the interest of time, I think we're keeping quite good time right now. Okay. We're going to move on to questions from the fans. Now, these questions are all from the Instagram. So we've been very active on Instagram, a few posts, a few stories.
We do need some more questions from you guys. So be sure you can send in more than one, but make them, be active,
Yeah, and they don't have to be about our lives. They can be about anything. They can be about football, which is the main thing that we're talking about. It can be about tea itself.
It can be thoughts on Dos and Toss.
Thoughts on Dos and Toss.
Thoughts on Dos and Toss. That can be a question and we can answer it.
Could be. Oh, we already had that in the past.
You could have a question for Dos and Toss you want us to answer, or we could have a question from us that we want Dos and Toss to answer.
Now, an exclusive piece of information.
Exclusive.
We could potentially in the future have a Dos and Toss collaboration.
Mm-hmm, yes.
Or some sort of collaboration with them. There will be more information come out on that in the future. Mm-hmm. But be sure to check that out. Because I'm very excited for that. First guest on the Tea Time podcast.
Honestly, it's great.
But yeah, so only 5 questions, I think it was, from the Instagram.
First invited guest to the Tea Time podcast.
First invited guest, true. We did have guests last episode.
We had a live audience.
Yeah. It didn't make the cut, but they came in and they scared us and we both jumped out of our seats. It was very funny.
Yeah.
But only 5 questions on the Instagram. Only 5 questions on the Instagram. It's quite poor showing, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Poor form.
What was it?
Very poor form. No, it was 5. It was 5. Poor form from the Instagram. But first question comes from our man, Daniel Mingle. Yeah. He Liverpool fan, Melbourne Victory fan. Mm-hmm.
Not everyone's perfect, but that's okay.
His question is, what's the best iced tea flavour? Now let's go off Lipton iced tea.
Lipton, this is a controversial one. I'm saying lemon. Oh. It's not peach. I don't like peach, and I've said this a million times
before. You don't
before.
Like peach? Oh.
Back when I was a big boy, I was drinking a lemon iced tea every single, 3 times a week, possibly every single day.
Yeah.
I was hooked on that shit. The cold, juicy lemon iced tea.
Oh, imagine. I don't understand lemon as a flavour. I don't understand it as an iced tea flavour. I don't understand it as an ice cream flavour.
No, who the hell eats lemon ice cream?
Lemon ice cream's a thing.
No, lemon sorbet, not lemon ice cream.
Lemon sorbet, sure.
Ice cream is not sorbet.
Lemon cake. I don't understand this lemon. I don't understand this business.
You're a lemon.
I'm not a fan of lemon. I really have to disagree. Mine is peach. It's quite a common answer, but I think peach is the way to go.
I disagree.
What thoughts on the new raspberry Lipton iced tea flavour? Well, it's not that new, but
Jonty's not really drinking those iced teas recently, so he wouldn't really.
Only your hot teas.
Only my hot teas.
Which that's why we're here on the pod. That's why we're here on the podcast. But yeah, so mine would be peach iced tea. Next question
I'm going to say to Gilad is from a special one, Adam Freeman. Can Gilad pronounce Twinings correctly?
So I think that's in reference to the very first podcast we made, the first Zoom one. I believe I had some sort of, I don't remember exactly, a fruit tea by the company Twinings, and I believe I pronounce it Twinnings. Now, Adam claims to be from the UK. He isn't. Aviv has spent more time in the UK than him.
Shout out to Boris.
He's gone now. I know. They all quit on him.
I know.
But we don't want to get too political here. We do love Boris, though.
Yeah.
Not in a political way, just in a...
Yeah.
We love his character, his personality.
Yeah.
Personality. But yeah, so I think that was in reference to that. So, Adam, I can pronounce Twinings correctly. But I think he sent another question through, which might have been a bit more meaningful.
Yes. He said, is population control a good excuse for gun laws?
Wow.
Gil, what do you think about that one?
If I'm being completely honest, I think, as we've said a few times, we want to avoid catching a case.
Yes, yeah.
Don't get the case.
We don't want to. For just a brief moment, I'm just going to label that as the famous shit call, Adam. It's a bit of a shit call.
It's quite a political topic, and we don't want to get into politics here on the Tea Time podcast. We're just here to have a good time.
But population control, I don't think that's a viable excuse.
Okay. Well, how about this? Adam, if you have the chance to have a one-on-one conversation, or be a guest. Maybe not be a guest.
Which will never happen, but...
no, I think that's more of a one-on-one conversation that he could have with us.
I think the nature of the question is maybe a little bit...
It's a bit...
unsuitable.
Unsuitable.
Nice. I was going to say inappropriate.
I thought you were going to say... bad. How did you take so long to think of the word bad for?
That was good, buddy. It was good. The word was good.
The word was good that you were thinking about. The word.
Yeah, I said wouldn't have been good.
Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Next question. Thoughts on Heidi Kalanen? Now, initially, by Eden Cohen, when I
thought that was a dick joke. I'm not gonna lie.
Same. I was very suspicious of that question when I first saw it. I didn't say that.
You said the fifth.
And I got spit on me as well. Oh my gosh.
You said like suspicious.
I'm sorry, my pronunciation hasn't been great today, viewers of the Tea Time podcast. But his question, I initially thought that she might have been someone in the adult movie industry, or it was some sort of dick joke, but it's not. She is a Finnish footballer that's she's a striker for the Finnish national team.
Does she have good finishing?
I checked her stats prior to this, and she hasn't started in any of Finland's UEFA Euro 2022 matches, because right now there is the which we haven't really talked about. We can talk about briefly now. The female Euro competition, female Euro tournament going on right now. She hasn't started any game for Finland. They've played 2 games as of the time of recording, and she's been on the bench in both, hasn't come on as a sub. So I don't know what my thoughts on her are. I don't know much about her. What I do know is I follow a little bit of the Women's Super League, which is effectively the Premier League of the women's teams. And Arsenal's got a good team. The Vivian Miedema, she is a great player. She came 4th in the female Ballon d'Or. Obviously, you've got Australia, our country, Sam Kerr. She won Player of the Season for the Women's Super League and came 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, I think, or 2nd female Ballon d'Or. Obviously, Australia isn't in the Women's Euros. But yeah, that's kind of what I have to say about Heidi Kalanen.
I'm just going to say, upcoming next question, I'm going to say this is question of the app. Question of the episode.
Question of the app.
The best question of the episode.
The best question of the episode.
And this one goes to Ron Biran.
Ron Biran.
With who's your favourite from the Sidemen and why? And
we've mentioned a bit of the Sidemen.
I think, who you answered the last question, right?
I answered.
So I'll answer this question. So my favourite from the Sidemen is between Harry and JJ.
I think that's a common answer. Yeah.
Harry and JJ. It kind of changes. Usually, Harry makes me laugh the most.
He's quite funny. He
kind of reminds me of me a bit.
He is very relatable, I'd say. He's a bit awkward.
Yeah. Do you think I give a lot of Harry tendencies?
For sure. I'd have to agree. Yeah. If I had to characterize you as one of them, I'd characterize you as him.
Also JJ. I think my first one I watched ever was Harry.
Nice.
And then JJ was the more popular one, so I watched a lot more JJ.
I've got a question for you. Back when you lived in the UK, how what are the... Obviously, you lived in the UK, 5 years ago now? 4 years ago now? No.
3 years ago.
3 years ago. The Sidemen are a lot more popular now than they were 3 years ago. But were they popular?
They were still hugely popular.
Did everyone at school, everyone watched their videos and everyone knew
they were huge.
Yeah.
Bigger than you.
Yeah, for sure they'd be bigger than you.
Huge.
Yeah, fair.
Everyone was watching Sidemen.
Yeah. Because I feel here, up until recently, maybe a year ago, especially 3 years ago, it was kind of weird to watch Sidemen. Not weird, but it was if you watch not weird, because I think everyone, or at least all of our friends and everyone that we go to school with, watch Sidemen as well, but like it was kind of like a thing that you don't really talk about because you don't want to be like embarrassed of it.
So well,
so it wasn't really mentioned until recently. I reckon in the last year, a lot of people have got around it.
I started watching the Sidemen FIFA 13 or 14. I think FIFA 13 Road to Shore.
Okay.
So a long time watching the Sidemen.
Yeah, for sure.
Not really watching as much as I used to anymore.
Same.
Probably,
Same.
I think I watched religiously until they actually announced the Sidemen channel.
Okay.
And since then it started to dip a little bit. I think 2017 or 18 they announced the Sidemen channel.
Something like that. I'm not too sure.
Dipped a little bit. Been busy as well, so yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the questions. I really like the questions today. And Baba, shout out for question of the day.
Aviv with the question. We can do that. We can every time we can say question of the app.
Question of the app. Then we're gonna keep the name.
Yeah.
This week. And we're gonna put them in a hat after like enough. Let's say like 10.
Yeah.
And that person is a special guest for the next episode.
I'm happy to do that. That's kind of a cool idea.
So it can be like 5 weeks, it can be 10 weeks, whatever. We can wait, or 5 episodes or 10 episodes.
Yeah.
So I reckon in about 5 episodes time.
Put them in a pool, and we can do it on one of the podcasts. We can
do it live. We can do it live. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ronda, you're in the pool, and also if they want to be on the podcast.
Yeah, if they want.
Right now you're in the pool for.
I would say second place in case Baba does not want to come onto the podcast. I would say middle for this week.
Okay, so how about every episode we say 2 people that are eligible?
First and second place.
So first and second place right now I've got Daniel Mindel and Ron. So thank you guys very much for your questions. And normally we don't have a 4th segment, but on the Instagram, as we've been shouting out a lot, __podcast. Everyone knows how to spell T.
2 underscores on podcast.
2 under. Doesn't make any sense. I'm going to change the bio to that. I'm going to change it to 2 underscores one podcast. That's quite funny. But yeah, so we asked you guys if you thought there would be a cool segment that you wanted to add. And one of the answers was story time. Now, in the first ever episode of Tea Time, we did or was it the second? First or second, we did embarrassing school stories. Second episode. We decided this week we're going to do, doesn't have to be embarrassing, can be embarrassing, funny, or just like school camp stories. So this will be our like story time, and I'll kick it off.
Okay.
So, this is from around year 4 camp. Now, I'll paint the scene. Me and a bunch of my friends, or maybe it was not year 4 camp, it was year 5 camp. So you were gone by then, you weren't there.
Oh,
but a few of us, we were having activities and we were going to do a flying fox. You know, flying fox, you like...
Oh, not the charity, like the...
Not the charity,
okay,
the activity.
That was something that was said today in the Kid Demo conference.
Oh, maybe we shouldn't...
No, like Flying Fox was like... someone mentioned Flying Fox, like the charity today.
Yeah, fair.
So that's why I got confused.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so... So we did a flying fox activity. Now I'm preparing to get on the flying fox, and I'm a really little kid, so I don't have a big ladder.
I think I've had this story.
So as soon as like a couple minutes before, I asked the teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Teacher's like, yeah, cool, whatever. So I go to the bathroom, and for some reason I realized that I couldn't like go to the bathroom to take off my pants because I had the harness and everything tied around me because I was literally like 2 minutes away from going onto the flying fox.
I thought you had like stage fright or something.
Stage in front of who?
I don't know, for yourself, I don't know.
No, so I had the harness on me and I was trying, and then I realized I have to get this off. So I'm trying, and I'm not even joking. I was standing there for like 35 minutes trying to get this harness off me.
Oh, no.
It was not working. I was stressed. I was panicking. I missed the flying fox. I managed to do it and I didn't like pee in my pants. I like held it in and I like peed. But it was just annoying. Like I was there for like 35 minutes trying to get this harness off. And obviously it shouldn't take me 35 minutes to take a harness off. But I was like some little kid that just didn't know what to do with it. So
it's sus, you know.
That's my school story.
It's sus that you were in the toilet for that long.
Yeah, I know. And so I go back to the flying fox, and the teacher's like, "Where have you been?" And I was like, "I don't even want to tell you about it." I was fuming. I also one time peed on a bus, like in a milk carton, but that's a story for another day. That's a different. That could have been my funny camp story, but that's a story for another day. The viewers who may know of it will know. But yeah, what's your story?
My funny camp story. Well, I'm not really a funny camp type of guy. You know,
you go to camps to just.
I'm just dead on camps. I don't really like camps that much. Yeah. So a funny story that I've got from camp. Well, I think the most recent camp, something pretty funny happened.
Yeah. What happened?
Well, Adam comes into my room. And, to piss me off.
Is this the same Adam that's asked 2 questions for our podcast today?
And they were both shit.
You know what I did? He asked 2 questions. We picked 2 out of the 5 questions to be like in our pot for like a guest, and he didn't get either. They were both terrible questions. Be better next time, Adam, please.
So last week OJ was the one making the bad calls, and this week it's Adam making the bad calls. They call him Dama Triore.
Dama Triore.
That's a bit of a shit call.
That's a bad call.
That's a bad call. Okay, anyways. My funny story time from camp is when Adam came into my room.
Yeah.
And then for some reason he put something on my bed when I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, like what is this? And so I open like this cloth type shit, and it's a sausage.
Okay.
Like a sausage that was out during the night.
Yeah.
Like someone dropped it onto the floor.
Like the food.
Yeah, and it rained during the night, so it was like a soggy sausage.
Soggy.
And so I picked it up. Like obviously I didn't pick it up with my hands.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. But I got it. They got to Adam's. They went up to Adam and face slapped him with the sausage. like 3 times.
How did he react?
Oh, he was like, he's just like, he was trying to like. Then I put it down his shirt.
Yeah.
And then I threw it at him.
Oh wow.
And then left him alone. But it was so funny.
I can't believe I didn't see that.
Yeah, another funny story was when Richie broke the door.
Richie broke the door. When did he break the door?
In year 10 Hajjal camp.
Okay.
He kicked the door and it broke.
Yeah.
How we forget about rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors.
With Toby and Mindle.
This is a story for another time.
This is talking another time.
Yeah. We'll give you a story, but we'll leave you on the teaser that it was a rock, paper, scissors event.
Yes.
At a camp.
WWE would be jealous of the event.
Yeah, oh, for sure. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was mental.
But yeah, so we think that can be the end of the podcast.
Yes, it will be the end of the podcast.
Yeah, we hope maybe we can include story time every week. Maybe not in weeks that we have guests, because obviously we want to ask the guest questions and stuff like that.
And let us know any new segments you guys want. Or send in more questions for us.
Send in more questions. Let us know about the segments. Let us know about this new setup that we've got.
The more questions they send in, the more likely they have a chance of being on the podcast.
Being on the podcast, being a guest.
Yes.
Watch Adam submit six questions. Not be in it.
Watch him get 6 questions and he still won't be on the podcast.
But yeah, so thank you guys very much. Again, feel free to check the Instagram, teatime__podcast. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Tea Time Podcast.
We look forward to it.
Peace.
Catch you later.